light, but right now we're going to get started in standing in mountain. So let's stand in mountain with our feet hip width apart. Roll our shoulders back, open up our palms, and we're just going to start our slow flow hatha yoga. So let's stand in mountain, with our palms facing forward, and just focusing on pressing our feet firmly into the mat, finding a space where we feel comfortable. We feel that our hips are in line with our knees are in line with our ankles, our shoulders are back, down and relaxed, our neck is relaxed. And let's just bring our chin in to our chest. So we're just going to bring our chin down, just pull it in and straight out again. Just bring it in again and out again. Beautiful. Now let's just lift our arms, sweep our arms up overhead as we inhale, cross our arms overhead and bringing our arms down as we exhale. Sweeping our arms up again as we inhale through our nose and sweeping down as we exhale. Let's do one more time, sweeping our arms up and exhaling down. Now let's take our hands and interlace our fingers behind our back and just press our chest forward and bring our shoulder blades together behind our back. Just hold here and again, breathe. We're just focusing on getting our breathing slow and relaxed and deep as we begin our practice. Just hold here. Another couple of breaths. And then let's release our hands. Let's lift our arms straight up overhead with our palms facing each other, but not touching. And then dropping our right arm down. Let's press our left arm with our arm close to our ears, just slightly to the side. And then exhale down again. Let's lift both arms straight up, palms facing each other, but not touching. Dropping our left arm down, keeping our right arm up. And again, just pressing. Just with our arm close to our ear, pressing slightly to the side, just feeling a stretch. And then exhaling as we come down. Now let's lift both hands up again, palms facing each other, but not touching, and press our fingertips up to the ceiling, really pressing so that we can feel our fingers just pressing towards the ceiling as we press our feet into the mat. And then exhale as we come down. Let's inhale up again, palms facing, but not touching, fingertips pressing up to the ceiling, really feeling the stretch through our whole body as we press our fingertips up and press our feet in firmly into the mat at the same time. And then exhale down. Let's do that one more time. Bring our hands up, fingertips up to the ceiling, really feeling like we're getting taller as we're standing here, just keeping our neck nice and relaxed, keeping everything else relaxed, just pressing our fingertips to the sky, pressing our feet into the mat, and then exhaling down. Now let's interlace our fingers again behind our back, press our chest forward, bring our shoulder blades together behind our back, and let's just hold here and breathe. And now I just want you to stand in mountain. We've got a few more people joining, so I'm going to put this on spotlight, but I want you to stand in mountain with your feet hip width apart, your palms open, and just do a bit of a scan up and down to just see how everything is feeling today, and just focusing on breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. I'm just going to move towards the screen and just put this onto spotlight. I hope. Still won't let me do that, unfortunately. Okay, I guess we need more cameras. Okay, so we'll just continue. So from mountain again, let's bring our hands to heart center. Let's turn so we're facing the short edge of the mat. And let's move into flying bird. And in flying bird, we're trying to just warm our body up all over and also just bring our right and our left sides together so we can feel our balance as we move into our next set of poses. So let's step back with our right foot, open up our arms, exhale as we step forward. Same thing again, let's step back with our left foot, our right knee is bent, arms are open, exhale as we step forward. One more time, let's step back with our right foot with our left knee bent, arms open, exhale as we step forward. Let's do that again with the left side, the right knee bent, arms open, exhale as we step forward. Now let's aim to open our arms and step back at the same time. So we're going to step back, keeping our opposite knee bent and opening our arms as we inhale. So step back with the right, open up our arms, exhale as we step forward. Inhale as we step back, exhale as we step forward. Let's do 2 more on each side. Stepping back with our left, stepping forward, stepping back with our right, stepping forward. 1 more on the left side, stepping back, stepping forward. Keeping our hands at heart center. Let's sit back into chair and let's open up our arms, sweep our arms in front of our bent knees and come all the way up, pressing our fingertips to the ceiling. Again, we're protecting our back. So when we come down, we're making sure that we are not arching our back. So we're sitting back again with a flat back into chair, sweeping our arms in front of our bent knees, coming all the way up and just keeping our back flat and not arched. Let's do that again. Let's sit back into chair, sweep our arms in front of our knees, come all the way up. Let's do 3 more times. Sit back into chair, sweep our arms in front of our bent knees, coming up. Sit back, sweeping our arms, coming up. 1 more time, sitting back, sweeping arms again, coming all the way up, bringing our hands to heart center. Let's move back into flying bird. Again, we're going to open our arms and step back at the same time. So we inhale as we step back with our right, exhale as we step forward. Inhale as we step back with our left, inhale as we step forward. Exhale as we step back, exhale as we step forward. Inhale as we step back with our left, stepping forward. 2 more on each side. So once on our right, once on our left, twice on our right, and twice on our left. Coming back with hands to heart center, sitting back into chair. Again, let's open up our arms wide, sweep our arms in front of our bent knees, come all the way up, sit back into chair again, sweep our arms in front of our bent knees, all the way up, sitting back into chair, sweep our arms, come all the way up. This time, when we sweep our arms, we're going to come all the way down into on all 4s onto the mat. So we're going to swan dive down. So we're going to sit back, sweep our arms, bring our arms all the way down to the mat as we swan dive to our hands and knees. Let's bring our knees to the long edges of the mat, bring our big toes together, push back into child's pose, and let's hold here in child's pose for 5 breaths. Now let's come up again onto hands and knees. Let's find a place where our knees are directly in line with our hips. Our shoulders are directly in line with our wrist. Our feet are flat on the mat or our toes are turned under, whichever feels better. And we're going to move into cat and cow. We're just going to wake up our spine, soften our spine. So let's start by dropping our tailbone, rounding our back, pressing up to the ceiling, looking through our legs. And then lifting our tailbone, dropping our chest, looking forward as we inhale. And then dropping our tailbone, rounding our back, pressing up to the ceiling, looking through our legs. And then again, lifting our tailbone, dropping our chest, looking forward as we inhale. Now let's move back into cat. And this time, let's just hold in cat for a few breaths. So we've dropped our tailbone, we're pressing our back up to the ceiling, we're looking through our legs, just breathing. And now with cow, we're going to lift our tailbone, drop our chest and look forward. Again, let's hold this here for a couple of breaths. And now let's just move into, again, hat and cow in whatever pacing feels good. We can stay in cow for a couple of breaths or 3 breaths, or cat, whichever we would like to do. We just always lead with our tailbone. So let's just do 2 more of whatever combination feels good. And 1 more. And now let's bring our knees again to the long edge of the mat. Bring our big toes together, come all the way down to the mat and push back again into child's pose. And we'll hold in child's pose for 5 breaths. And as we exhale on our 5th breath, let's come back up to hands and knees again. And let's move into spinal balance. So in spinal balance, we're tightening our core. We're going to start with just lifting our right leg with the toe pointed to the floor at hip height and press that foot away, aiming to keep our hips level, keeping our core tight, keeping our leg lifted, toe to the floor. And then placing that knee back down, let's lift our left leg up, toe to the floor, again, hip height, pressing that foot. We can just lift that leg, or we can really work it hard and push it far behind us, really engaging our whole leg as we hold. And then leg back to the mat, lift our right leg again, toe to the floor, again, same thing, just really working, feeling like somebody's pressing on the sole of our foot, trying to make our leg drop. And again, knee to the mat. Let's lift our left leg 1 more time. Toe to the floor, again, aiming to keep our hips level. One side will feel easy, one side may feel a little bit different. Then placing that knee back on the mat. Now this time, let's add our arms as well. So we're going to lift our right leg up and our left arm. And again, our toe is to the floor and our thumb is to the ceiling. Same thing with our arm. We're pressing that arm away, really feeling a stretch in our shoulders. Hand and knee to the mat. Opposite side, left leg, right arm. Again, really pressing that arm, thumb to the ceiling to keep our shoulder open. Just hold here, a couple of breaths. Switch sides. Let's do 1 more on each side. So right leg, left arm. Again, really pressing. Engaging that leg, just holding and breathing. And then hand and knee back to the mat, left leg, right arm. Again, toe to the floor, thumb to the ceiling, keeping that leg at hip height. A couple more breaths. And then hand and knee back to the mat. Let's keep our knees where they are. Press back into child's pose. And just hold in child's pose again for 5 breaths. Now let's walk our fingers as far out as they'll go. Just staying in child's pose, but let's walk those fingers towards the short edge of the mat, really feeling a stretch across our back and in our arms. And just hold here and breathe for 5 breaths. And then let's walk those fingers back. And let's press our hip just slightly over to the right, just feeling a stretch on the outside of our hip as we just press our hip slightly to the right. And then back to center. And pressing our hips slightly to the left. Again, we'll just hold in this position for 5 breaths. Now back to center. Now let's walk those fingertips out again, really feeling that stretch as our fingers are going out as far as they will go. Stretching them, just holding again. We'll hold here for a few breaths. And then walking those fingertips back and just relaxing in child's pose. And then walking those fingertips out as far as they'll go again, feeling the stretch in our fingers and across our back. Now let's come all the way up into kneeling plank. In kneeling plank, we have our shoulders over our fingertips and then pressing back into child's pose. And coming back up again into kneeling plank. And pressing back again into child's pose. We'll just follow your breath to come up into kneeling plank and back into child's pose. You can also turn your toes under and lift up into downward facing dog and forward into full plank. So do whatever combination you'd like to do. We're going to do 2 more of whatever combination we're in. And then let's just press back again into child's pose and just relax, just letting our head rest on our hands. Just hold in child's pose. Now we can stay in child's pose if we'd like to just practice doing downward facing dog. To get into downward facing dog from child's pose, arms go out as far as they'll go. We lift up, turn our toes under, lift our hips up to the ceiling, to where the ceiling and the wall meet. We can keep our knees bent, and we're pressing on our hands so that our shoulders, the space between our shoulders is soft, it's not tight. And we can just pedal our feet, keeping our knees bent, holding in this space, or pedaling our feet slightly. And then we just press up, we bring our knees back down to the mat and press back into child's pose. Now let's come up again with a flat back, hands and knees. Again, find the space where our knees are directly in line with our hips. Our arms and our wrists are directly in line with our shoulders. And let's just move into sunbird. So sunbird, we have a bent leg. We bring the sole of the foot to the ceiling. We round our back just like we do when we do cat. We bring our tailbone down and we bring our knee to our elbow. And then we come back up again. We tighten our core, we drop our tailbone, bring our knee to our elbow, come up one more time. Let's do that again. Bring our tailbone down, round our back, press our knee to our elbow, ending with our leg up, sole of the foot to the ceiling, and then bringing that knee down. And let's do the same on the other side. So let's lift our left leg with a bent knee, sole of the foot to the ceiling. Again, just like in cat, bringing our tailbone down, rounding our back, bringing our knee to our elbow, coming back up again. Again, bringing our tailbone down, rounding our back, bringing our knee to our elbow, foot to the ceiling. One more time, bring our knee to our elbow as we press our back up, and just finish with the sole of the foot to the ceiling, bringing our knee back down, and let's push back again into child's pose, and just rest our hands, rest our head on our hands, on our folded hands. We'll just hold here for 5 breaths. Now let's come all the way up. We can bring our blocks close by if we would like. Bring our right knee forward into a kneeling lunge. We can stay in that kneeling lunge, or we can use our blocks to just give us some leverage, turn our toes under, lift up into a full lunge, or we can press ourselves up just by turning our toes under and lifting up into a full lunge. So we're just going to hold here and just get our core tight, get our balance. Bring ourselves into this place. Now, if we're in a full lunge, we bring our knee to the mat and we walk our foot over so that our foot is on the long edge of the mat and we're leaning in to that very tight hip. And we're just going to hold here. And again, if we come back, we feel a different stretch. We come forward, we feel that stretch right in our hip flexor. So we're just going to hold here with our hands on the mat. And this is a big muscle, so we're going to hold in this position for at least 5 breaths. And now we're going to walk that foot over. So our ankle and our knee are in a straight line. I'm going to turn the toes under of our left leg, lift up, press back so that our left leg is straight and we're feeling a stretch in our calf. And we're just holding here. Let's bring our knee down. Bring our right leg back, our left leg forward. Again, we can stay in kneeling lunge. We can use our blocks with our toes turned under to lift up, or we can just turn our toes under and lift up and press back into a full lunge and hold there. Now, if we're in a full lunge, we bring our knee all the way back down to the mat. And then we walk that foot over to the long edge of the mat and just, again, lean in, just like we did with the other side, feeling that hip start to soften a little bit. We'll hold here again for 5 breaths. Now let's walk that foot back in, turn the toes under on our right foot, lift up, press back, feel a stretch in our calf. Just hold here. And bring that knee back down to the mat. Let's bring our left leg back, bring our right leg forward again into a kneeling lunge or a full lunge. And this time we're going to add our arms. So we're tightening our core, we're up tall, we're either in a kneeling lunge or a full lunge, and we're bringing our arms up high to just in front of us, just like a warrior one arms. And then we open up, turn towards our bent right leg and open our arms up into a twist. Bring our arms forward again. And then again, turning to the opposite side, again, keeping our arms open and coming back, arms high. Now, let's walk our foot over to the long edge of the mat, bring our hands to the mat, lean in again. This time, our hip might feel just a little bit looser, a little bit softer. We'll hold here again for 5 breaths. Now let's walk that foot back over so our ankle and our knee are in a straight line. Turn the toes under in our left leg. Lift up, press back, and feel a stretch in our calf. Let's place that knee back on the mat. Bring our right leg back. Bring our left leg forward into either a kneeling lunge or a full lunge, whichever we'd like to do. And again, we're going to add our arms here. So let's lift our arms up high, straight in front of us. And now we're going to turn towards our bent knee, opening up our arms. We're going to come back to center. And then we're going to turn to the other side. We're going to come back to center. Bring our hands down to the mat. Walk our foot over to the long edge of the mat. Lean in to that leg. Feeling the stretch in our hip flexor. Now let's walk the foot back so our ankle and our knee are in a straight line. Turn the toe under on our right foot, lift up, press back. Feel the stretch in our calf as we do this. And then this time, we're just going to bring our right foot, sweeping it up beside our left, sweeping our arms all the way up. Big deep breath. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Again, inhale up. And exhale down. Beautiful. Now, let's bring our hands to heart center. Let's sit back into chair. And let's just turn towards the long edge of the mat, towards the right, and bring our left elbow to our right knee. Just hold in a twisting chair. And then coming back to center, and then turning towards the left. So our right elbow is on our left knee. Coming back to center, opening up our arms, sweeping them up, straight up overhead. And if our neck allows, just bringing our head back slightly so that our throat is open as we lift our arms. And then exhale down. Inhale up again. Again, just slightly inclining our head so our throat is open. Exhaling down. One more time up. Exhale down. Now let's move into our warrior series. Let's start with short stance warrior 1. So let's step back with our right foot, keeping our left knee bent. We're going to balance on the outside edge of that back leg. So come back as far as feels comfortable for short stance warrior 1, balancing on the outside edge of our back foot, keeping our hips facing forward for the short edge of the mat, lifting our arms up high in short stance warrior 1. Now let's straighten our left leg. Let's just hinge forward from the hips. Let our arm drop down into pyramid pose. If we want to feel more intensity, we press our left hip back behind us so we feel stretch all the way up our hamstring into our hip. And now let's just turn so our chest is facing the long edge of the mat. Bring our left arm down more. Bring our right arm straight up overhead into triangle pose. Let's bring our top arm down slowly. Turn facing forward, bring our arms to hand, bring our hands to heart center, pivot. So we're facing the opposite direction. We have our left leg, we have our right leg forward, our left leg back. And again, we're just balancing on the outside edge of that back foot. Hips are facing the short edge of the mat, arms are high, and we are in short stance, warrior one. Now let's just straighten our front leg, hinge forward from our hips, let our arms drop down into pyramid pose. Again, if we want a little bit more intensity, we press that hip back so we feel a stretch in our hip and all the way up our hamstring. And then we're just going to bring our right arm down by our right foot, turn so our chest is facing the long edge of the mat, bring our arm straight up overhead into triangle pose. Let's bring our top arm down, bring our right hand to our left, pivot again. So we're facing the opposite direction. We're going to bring our right foot back farther into long stance warrior one. Our front knee is still bent. We're still balancing on that outside edge of the back foot, so we should feel a little bit more movement. Bring our arms up high, and we are in long stance warrior one. Now it's turned so our chest is facing the long edge of the mat. Our arms are open. We're looking out over our front hand, and we are in warrior two. And aim to keep our knee pushed back behind us so it's not folding in, keeping our shoulder blades together and our core tight in warrior two. Drop our back hand down, turn our front palm over, side bend into reverse warrior. Now, keeping our front knee bent, let's just drop our left arm in front of our bent left knee, bring our opposite arm up into side ankle pose. Now let's bring that hand down, bring our hands to heart center, pivot again so that our right leg is forward, our left leg is back. I'm forgetting which side is which today for some reason. Again, we go back as far as we can, making sure we're still balancing on the outside edge of our back foot. Our front knee is bent, and we are in long stance, warrior one. Now let's just turn so our chest is facing the long edge of the mat. We're opening up our arms, bringing our shoulder blades together behind us, keeping that front knee from folding in, looking out over our front hand in warrior two. Placing our back hand on our back hip, turning our front palm over, side bend into reverse warrior. And keeping that front knee bent, bringing our right arm in front of our right bent knee, just coming forward and keeping the back hand either on our back hip, straight up overhead, or all the way by our ear with fingertips facing the same direction as our toes, inside ankle pose. Let's bring that arm up, bring our hands to heart center. Let's pivot one more time. And let's just do a modified warrior three. So in warrior three, we're just going to balance on our left leg. We're going to lift our right leg up I'm just going to let that leg come up off the mat and just hold in a modified warrior 3. Placing that foot back on the mat, bringing hands to heart center. Let's do the long stance warrior 1 one more time. So stepping all the way back on the outside edge of that back foot. Hips face the short edge of the mat. Arms are high in long stance warrior 1. And then turning so our chest is facing the long edge of the mat, bringing our shoulder blades together, looking out over our front hand in warrior 2. Dropping our back hand down, turning our front palm over, side bend into reverse warrior. And then again, hinging forward from our hips, dropping our front hand down, lifting our opposite arm up into side angle pose. Now let's bring that hand down, bring our hands to heart center, pivot one more time. And again, let's do a modified warrior 3 on this side. So we're balancing on our right leg. We're just lifting our back leg up off the mat and just holding. And placing that foot back on the mat. Let's press our foot all the way back into long stance warrior 1, arms high, balancing on the outside edge of our back foot. And then opening up our arms, bringing our shoulder blades together, keeping that front knee from folding in warrior 2. Dropping our back hand down, turning our front palm over, side bend into reverse warrior. And then dropping that front hand in front of our front bent knee, keeping the back hand either on our hip, straight up overhead, or by our ear with our fingers facing the same direction as our toes in side angle pose. To bring that arm down, bring our hands to heart center, turn so that our feet stay wide, sit back into prayer pose. Really press those hips back, really feeling a stretch in our hip flexors and at the back of our hips. And then just straightening our legs, coming down either to a high block, a low block, or all the way to the mat, and just feel a stretch up the back of our legs. Bring our hands to heart center, coming all the way up. Sit back into prayer pose one more time. And then again, coming to a high block or a low block, pressing our hips behind us. Bring our hands to a block or to a mat. Again, just pressing back, feeling the stretch in the back of our body. Bring our hands up all the way, bring our feet closer together, and let's move into standing pigeon. So again, in standing pigeon, we just cross one leg over the other leg. And just sit back with our arms wherever they would like to be. Just hold here. And then unwinding, placing that foot down again. Same thing again, sitting back into chair, lifting our other leg across our knee, just sitting back into seated pigeon. And then coming up, putting our foot back on the mat. Let's move into dancer pose. So we take our hand inside our leg, again, lifting at our ankle, keeping our core tight, lifting our leg. Woo! Try not to do that. And then bring our arms up high into dancer. Perfect. And then arm down, hand down. Great. And then same thing, other side, taking our left hand on the inside of our leg, grasping our ankle, holding on, keeping our core tight. Again, arm up into dancer pose. And then releasing our ankle, bringing our foot back to the mat, bringing our hands to heart center. Let's turn so we're facing the short edge of the mat. Let's open up our arms wide and swan dive all the way down to the mat to our stomach. So let's come all the way down, swan diving all the way down, come all the way down to our stomach. And let's just relax into the mat. And let's keep our arms bent at our shoulders. And we're going to just move into locust pose. So we're going to just use our back to lift our chest up off the mat. We're not going to push. Our hands are going to hover over the mat, so we're not touching. We're going to inhale and lift up and exhale and come back down. Inhale, just come up. Exhale, back down. One more time, inhale as we lift our chest and exhale down. And now we can continue to just do the upper body, or we can also add our legs. We want our legs fairly close together, our feet almost touching. And again, we're going to inhale as we lift our chest and our feet up off the mat. And we're going to exhale as we come down. We do that one more time. We're going to lift, inhale as we lift. And exhale as we come down. Perfect. Now we're going to take either a strap or our hand. We're going to take our left arm and just bend our left arm so that we can support our head. So just putting our head on our bent arm. We're going to grasp either with a strap or our hand. We're going to hold on to our right ankle with our right hand. We're going to just pull our leg towards our back. We're just going to hold here. We can get it up off the mat, that's great, but we shouldn't feel any tension in our knee. And our neck should be relaxed. We should just be relaxed onto our cheek on our arm. And just pulling in enough so we feel a stretch in the front of our leg. We don't have to pull really hard. It doesn't matter how far it comes. And we should feel no tension in our knee when we do this. If there's any tension in the knee, just release. Hold here just another few breaths. Now let's release our foot to the mat. Let's take our right arm, bend our right arm so we can support our head by just placing it on our bent right arm. We're going to either use our strap or our hand to take our left ankle in our left hand or strap, and we're going to again do the same thing. We're just going to pull it towards the back without any tension. Again, it doesn't matter how far it comes, it just matters that we feel a stretch in the front of that leg. Now let's just release that foot. Let's bring our hands directly under our shoulders, tighten our core, lift ourselves up, press all the way back into child's pose, and we'll just reset our back. So we'll just let ourselves, let gravity bring our hips down, and we'll just hold here for a few breaths. Now let's swing our legs around so that we're in a seated position. Bring our legs all the way ahead of us. And again, if our legs are straight, we can just stay seated on the mat. If we feel it's more comfortable to have bent legs, then please sit up on a block or on a pillow. And we're just going to let ourselves fall forward. We're not going to pull, we're just going to with a flat back, just let ourselves come forward, feeling a stretch just in the base of our back there. So we don't have to pull, we don't have to round, we just pull forward from our lower back and just relax there. Let's come up. Let's bring our right leg out to the outside of the mat. Let's turn our left leg, bend it and bring it into our inner thigh. And we're just, again, if our knee is high, we're going to place a block under it to give it some support. If it's flat on the mat, we can leave it there. And we're just going to turn slightly and just lean slightly towards the right side. We should feel a stretch on the inside of our right leg and on the outside of our left back as we just kind of lean slightly towards our right foot. Now let's come up. Let's straighten our left leg, bring it to the outside of the mat, bring our right foot, bend it into our inner thigh. Again, if it's high, place a block under it to give it support. And again, we're just going to lean slightly towards our left side, feeling the stretch on the outside of our right side and the inner leg of our left leg. And just hold here. Again, if there's any, it feels too intense, just release it a little bit. Make sure that if hip is high, to place something under it to support it. I'll just hold here. Now let's come all the way up. There's a block under our hip. We can remove it. We bend our knees slightly, holding on to the backs of our legs. Let's roll all the way back so that we're lying on our back on the mat and bring our knees to our chest. Move myself down slightly. Let's bring our knees to our chest and roll back and forth. Really press our back into the mat. Really roll around. Now let's keep our knees bent, but drop our feet to the mat. And we're going to lift up into bridge. So we're going to press our feet into the mat. We're going to lift up our hips up to the ceiling, and we're going to hold here for 2 breaths. And then we're going to exhale down, bring our knees to our chest again. Keep our knees bent, but drop our feet to the mat. Lift up again into bridge for 3 breaths. And then we're going to come down to the mat again, bring our knees into our chest. And we can continue to do bridge with 2 feet on the ground, or we can just drop our right foot and keep our left knee bent and lift up into one leg bridge for just 2 breaths. And then come down again, bring our knees to our chest one more time. Now let's drop either both feet or just our left foot, keeping our right knee bent. Lift up into one-legged bridge again. And then coming down, bringing our knees to our chest. And now let's bring our feet together into butterfly. So bring the soles of our feet together. And we're just going to lift up slightly, just an inch off the mat, and just hold for a couple of breaths. And then come down again, just let our knees drop, just relax into the mat. Let's lift up just an inch off the mat. Again, pressing on the outside edge of our feet into a butterfly bridge. And then come down again, just letting our knees drop. And now we're going to just stay in butterfly. We're going to open up our arms. We can place a block or a pillow under our chest if we like. We're just going to hold here with our chest open in butterfly for at least 5 breaths, maybe a bit longer. Just hold here. Now let's bring our arms back in, bring our knees to our chest. And again, let's just roll back and forth. Let's take our hands onto our shins and really press our bent knees into our hips, just feeling that stretch still in our hip flexors as we just hold here. And then releasing, let's just keep our knees to our chest and just roll in circles, roll side to side. And now we're going to move into our final relaxation. So find the position that you want to be in for your final relaxation. If you have a pillow or a blanket or something to cover you and keep you warm, while you're in your final relaxation, I'll leave you there for 5 minutes and then I will come back and bring you back into the room. Let's start to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Let's slowly bring ourselves back into the room. Let's rub our palms together, warming our hands. And when we feel our hands are warmed, place them over our closed eyes and slowly open our fingers and our eyes to let some light come in. And then let's come over to the side of the mat and just pause there. And when we feel ready, come up to a comfortable seated position. And if we can put our mics on so we can hear each other, that would be great. If that's possible. In our seated position, let's lift our arms up and take an inhale and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up, let's bring our palms together, bring our hands down to heart center. Thank you for coming to practice together today. Have a wonderful week and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.
All right.